Mizzou beats Vanderbilt last weekend. Tigers make things a little nervous. 12:59, Mizzou responded with a 44-yard catch by Marquise Johnson. Then that'd be a touchdown, and Vanderbilt will get it within 10. Tigers will get a 17-yard touchdown again, and Mizzou would force a punt on their final drive. Vanderbilt 38-21. Luther Burden goes for 140 and a touchdown. Brady Cook never looked this good. In fact, he has the most throws ever by a quarterback to not throw an interception. Brady Cook goes 395. Nathan Peete goes 12 for 71, and Luther Burden goes 140 for 2 touchdowns. LSU will be the team that Missouri matches up against this week. LSU has lost the second game of the year. The Ole Miss, the big matchup will set up Mizzou and LSU. LSU is number 23 and favored by 6.5. The quarterbacks will be Brady Cook against Jaden Daniels, who has 16 touchdowns and 2 picks. Brady has 11 touchdowns, no picks, 14,068 yards, and 105 for 141 out of 141. Daniels has 16 touchdowns and 2 picks. Luther Burden is a player to watch out. It's been on fire. He has 4 games over 117 and a 96 in the opener. Macon Nabers for LSU has 100 yards, has 100 yards in 3 games. He has 239 and 1 against Mississippi State. He has 130 against Arkansas. That was week 2. Week 1 he had 87. Week 2 he had 87. Week 3 he had 239. Week 4 he had 130, and in the loss to Ole Miss he had 102. Mizzou heads in 5-0, and LSU 3-2. Kick is at 11. I'm taking Mizzou in the upset, 30-27, because why not? UFC is coming, and Kansas is coming out their first loss to Texas, 41-7. UFC loses a close one to Baylor. The runners look out for David Neal and Johnny Robinson for UFC, and David Neal for the Jayhawks. For Kansas, it could be Jason Bean or Jalen Daniels. Jason Bean played last week in the replacement of Jalen Daniels when KU got their butts beat. This game airs on 3. We'll do more on this at Thursday or Friday. Kansas State goes and plays Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State have not been good this year, as the Cats are. It'll be Texas and OU, number 12 versus number 3. Danny Schulten on the linebacker position and Wyan Watts at the cornerback position. Texas and OU quarterback Daniel Gabbard, top 100 player, and Quinn Evans has a lot to improve this season in Oklahoma. Both teams are undefeated. I'm taking Texas 30-20. Kentucky is coming off a big win over Florida, which they dominated. Kentucky is 6-0. Georgia got down to some teams, but has came back on all the teams. They're probably not as good as they used to be, but still maybe good enough to win the championship. Is Divine Larry, who has 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. Carson Beck, who has had good numbers. Is he a good pro quarterback? Is he a quarterback of the system? Players to watch out for at the tight end position: Joshua Kados, tight end, and Brock Bowers in the key matchups of tight ends. Kentucky is 22, and Georgia is number 1. Georgia is favored by 14.5. Notre Dame gets Louisville. It could be a surprise matchup, as Louisville has done good this year. Mitchell Evans and James Trash. Maryland, Ohio State. Ohio State is 4. Kick is at 11. UCLA, Washington State. Washington is 13. UCLA is unranked, but it's UCLA by 3.5. Florida State and Virginia Tech. Florida State is 4-0 at 6, and Virginia Tech is 2-3 at unranked. Florida State by 24. Texas A&M and Alabama. Texas A&M to play at home. Alabama is favored by 2.5. North Carolina and Syracuse. North Carolina is 14. Syracuse is unranked. UNC by 8.5. Kentucky, Georgia. ESPN. Kentucky by 14.5. Minnesota, Michigan. 6:30. NBC. Michigan by 19.5. Ole Miss and Arkansas. Ole Miss by 11 from Ole Miss, 6:30. Miami and Georgia Tech, 21. ACC Network, 7 p.m. Wyoming and Fresno State, 7 p.m. Fox. Oregon State and California, 9 p.m. Pac-12 Network. And Arizona and USC, number 8, unranked in Arizona, 21.5, 9:30. For baseball, the matchups of the AL East will be the Rangers and the Rays, the AL East winners. Tyler Glasnow will go for the Rays, and Jordan Montgomery will go for the Rangers. Glasnow is 3.53, 10-7, has not had a great postseason. First pitch from Ray Stadium is at 2:08. Twins will host the Jays. Pablo Lopez will go for the Twins, and the National League at 7:08. It'll be Brandon Pauld, who hasn't been very good in his rookie season. He will go for the Diamondbacks. Corbin Burns will go for the Brewers. Burns had a pretty good postseason with 7 postseason games and an ERA under 2. Brewers to host. Phillies play the Marlins. Jesse Lazard will go for the Marlins, and Zach Wheeler will go for the Phillies. 8:08, Phillies to host. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports.